Hey there, welcome to Friends with Deficits. This is Adam Sultan. What can I say about my next guest, Leila Henley? Well, for one, Lila is an excellent sax player and a singer, and she really stands out in a crowd. She's a towering presence, literally. I kind of took it for granted that she was just big and tall, but then I learned the cause of it was gigantism, which is in part what we'll be discussing. I didn't have a themed drink for this episode, so I went for the Sazerac, which is a New Orleans classic cocktail, which harkens to Lila's last abode before she moved to Austin. And I guess it's relevant that we drank in large, tall quantities. Large for me, not for Lila. She can handle it, along with a lot of other stuff, like bike wrecks, rednecks, brain tumors. We cover it all on Friends with Deficits with my next friend, Leila Henley.
Friends with Deficits.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you, enough about me.
Oh, there's not much to tell, really.
You're tall. How did that happen?
Oh, well, there we go, yeah. When people ask me that, if I feel like they're ready for the information, I will tell them why. If they actually ask, anyway. Or
What?
Sometimes people will ask, how tall is your mom? Or how tall is your dad? And I'm taller than both of them, so
Right.
Usually then I just have to explain it because otherwise it seems like I'm just some sort of fluke or something. But it's not a fluke. I had a brain tumor.
That's right.
Yes. The story is pretty meaningful to me because I have a special relationship with spiders because of the story.
Wow, this gets into spiders.
Yeah, I have a thing for spiders because I think when I was 15, I got a spider bite on my lower back, and I think I must have gotten it while I was sleeping because I don't remember it happening. But it started to turn purple and gross, and look infected or something. And so we did not have health insurance when I was a kid because we were, my parents were self-employed in rural Alabama, basically. So yeah, there was no health insurance. But the spider bite looked bad enough that my mom said, okay, we better take you to the doctor. So that was one of, very few times I went to the doctor as a kid. And the doctor looked at the spider bite and said, oh yeah, we'll prescribe you some antibiotics or something. But how tall is your dad? Really, like 2 minutes into it, he asked me that. And I was very bashful at the time about being so tall. I really didn't.
So when did you start to become tall? Or when do you notice you're taller than other kids?
In 6th grade, I was pretty average sized, but by 8th grade, I think I was 5'11". I mean,
So it just shot up.
5'10", 5'11". Yeah, middle school, what we called middle school anyway. Some people have junior high, but
Yeah, that's me, California.
yeah, that's when I really went. I think I went from 5'8" to 5'11" in those 3 years of middle school. Mm-hmm. And then in high school, I went, 5'11" to 6'2", but my freshman year of high school is when they figured this out. But yeah, by 8th grade, I was definitely taller than anyone else. Mm-hmm. I don't think that anyone was even 5'11" back then. Later, there was a girl that's, I think, transferred to our school in high school who was almost as tall as me, but she was cool, so it was okay. Sometimes I have a little rivalry with the tall girls. Back to this doctor, he asked how tall my dad was, and at the time I was 6 feet tall, I think. And I said my dad's 6'1", which I've since decided my dad might be exaggerating a little bit, but maybe he's just shrunk. I don't know.
That's what he said? Okay.
He said he was 6'1".
They do shrink,
Yeah,
older folks.
I think he's shrunk significantly already, but yeah, I said that, I was almost as tall as my dad, and this doctor said, let's do a growth hormone test on you and just check your growth hormone levels, which I can't believe he was so bold, but it was great.
Is it a blood test? What kind of test is it?
Yeah. They had to draw blood, and they just check for growth hormone markers, and they were just like totally off the charts.
What do you mean you were surprised he was so bold?
I was 6 feet tall. I guess that is pretty. That's in the 1-2% of worldwide women's heights. So I guess that's not totally that bold.
Did you take offense or think it was unusual?
Yes.
Ah.
I was really not comfortable with being a giantess in those days. I felt really awkward and mannish, and gross.
But didn't that feel comforting in some sense? Like if he was saying,
No.
"Oh, here," like to be diagnosed in some way.
No, not at all. It was like, oh, there is something wrong with you. And it's disgusting. And every time you go to the doctor, they're going to ask you if you have discharge coming out of your nipples, because that's one of the side effects. And every time they asked me that, I would go, no. Like it was just so, oh God. No, there was a whole host of disturbing side effects that I didn't have, thank goodness. But for that reason, if this doctor hadn't just figured it out on his own, there was nothing obvious that would have, led me to think, we need to go and get me checked out. I mean, I wasn't having any. The only symptom that I ended up having so the pituitary gland is like right behind your optical nerves, like in the front of your brain. Mm-hmm. And if you have a tumor, it can start pressing on your optic nerves and it can affect your peripheral vision. So they did a vision test on me and I did have almost like blinders on as far as my peripheral vision goes, which amuses me now because I was in marching band and I think how did I possibly do that and line up with, I guess I would have just turned my eyes,
Playing sax, were you?
Yeah. So anyway, he did this growth hormone test and yeah, it was totally through the roof. And so then I had to go in for MRIs and CAT scans and all that. And I think, they like to compare tumors to fruit or something, right?
Oh, in terms of size?
In terms
it's grape
of size.
It's a watermelon.
I think that it was like golf ball sized.
That's not a fruit.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay, maybe.
What would be that, kiwi maybe?
It wasn't a grapefruit. It was not that big. Lemon? I can't remember.
Tangerine?
It was somewhere between lemon and orange.
Okay.
Big, really big.
Small orange, large lemon, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. I actually thought about asking him to save it for me and put it in a jar, but then I thought that was a little strange to ask.
I don't think they ever do that. They're always like, it's gone.
Right.
Hazardous material. You will never see that tumor
they
again.
they don't want you to see it. I don't know why. I guess because it might crawl out of the jar at night and
That is a possibility.
Reinstall itself. One of the other things that the doctor, that first time I went in, was checking me over for was like, how deep is your voice? Can you say something for me? Because that's another possible side effect, is that it, can make your voice lower, which obviously didn't happen to me. I'm a soprano, so that didn't happen. But also your hands and feet are larger than usual. So all this stuff just made me think like, oh God, I'm so mannish and disgusting.
You have a high singing voice, but you don't have a low voice, but you don't have a high girly voice.
No. I used to when I was a little kid. I had a really annoyingly high voice.
Really?
As a little kid. But yeah, and I do have big hands, but they're not super manly. But yeah, all the stuff they would ask. Every time I had to go see a new doctor, they would check these same things. Like, let's see how big your hands are and whether you've got discharge. God. Yeah. So anyway, for a long time, I think for about 6 to 8 months maybe, I had to get these twice daily injections in the butt, but basically like the haunch,
The spinal area kind of? Or just
like on the side,
okay.
Side butt,
Side butt.
Of a growth hormone suppressor to keep it from, to keep me from getting any taller, basically.
For how long?
I think it was like 6 months. So at one point we went on a band trip and I had to get some band mom to give me these because I couldn't do it myself. It was too weird to me to stick myself with a needle in the butt. I mean, that's kind of awkward anyway. And I don't know. I think it was just because for the timing of the surgery, they couldn't do it right away. But yeah, I ended up having brain surgery though.
When did you get the brain surgery?
I was 16, and I think it was during the summer. Yeah, so that I could recover and not have to be in school. All I remember about it, and this is pretty common, I'm sure, but I remember being on this table and they started the IV of
the anesthesia
to put me under, and I think my mom was there, and they were like, okay, count down from 10. I was like, 10, and then don't remember anything after that. It took no time. And then the next thing I remember was crazy. I was in this hospital bed, and I woke up, and they were taking what seemed like miles of gauze out of my nose.
Ew.
And I don't know if this was a crazy dream state I was in or what, but I felt like there was a doctor like across the room holding the end of this bloody gauze, just like pulling it. Yeah, and it was really bloody. It was just, it was really disturbing. And if you've never had gauze being pulled out of your brain,
I haven't.
You should try it. It's a very strange sensation.
Oh yeah, they go through your nose, right? The surgery.
Yeah, it actually went in through like between the lips and teeth.
Really?
Right there, behind, through the sinuses. Yeah.
Do you have a scar underneath on your gum or whatever?
Not anymore. Because your mouth heals really quickly.
Yeah.
But that little frenulum right there, I have 2 of them now. I used to have one. You know, the little connector.
Yeah. I got mine cut. I have a scar there because it was too big. It got stuck in my teeth. It's like a giant labia kind of thing. Like they just had to trim it or something. Yeah.
I know somebody who's under the tongue frenulum was really big, and one time it got caught between his front teeth and ripped.
Ow!
His lady friend was very happy, let me tell you.
Oh, hey.
It made a difference.
Just open things up.
Yes, it
Gene
did.
Simmons in the house.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So maybe that's a thing that some other guys should look into. I don't know.
It could be. It's probably an elected surgery, I'm sure. Do.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Did the brain surgery affect anything else, like physically, mentally?
I don't think so. But who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, going into the surgery, I was pretty freaked out about it because the front part of your brain, I mean, one little slip and you've been lobotomized, right? So I definitely had to make peace with that possibility. Or any surgery that you go into, you could die. I mean, just being put under anesthesia is risky.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that doctor was able to diagnose that from just looking at me. I don't know if I look like a pituitary case. Have you ever heard that in like a show or something where someone called someone a pituitary case?
No, but I looked up some of that stuff. Before this, they described like the large foreheads or jaw kind of things.
Every now and then I'll hear that and I'm like, "Rrr." It makes me a little angry. But if you get this thing as an adult, it's called acromegaly. And if you get it as an adult, the effects are definitely more drastic. Like, so your bones have kind of stopped growing lengthwise, and I think that there's some point at which they can't grow longer, when you're in your teens or something. And so instead, it just starts putting like calcium buildup on your joints. Yeah, and so your fingers get really thick, and all your joints get knobby, and you start getting arthritis, and there's a whole host of other side effects that can happen if you get it when you're an adult. But if you have it when you're a kid, it's not quite as detrimental to your health,
When you had the surgery, did you grow beyond that? Like
a little bit, yeah. I mean, I think I was 6'1" when I had the surgery, and I'm like 6'1" and 7/8 now, so I grew a little bit more.
That's not a ton, though. Yeah.
No, just a little bit. But yeah, I was definitely.
But this is basically you in 8th grade.
Yeah, close.
Yeah.
I don't know if it had anything to do with the growth hormone or what, but my face looks a little different now than it used to. It used to be a little rounder. Maybe that's just baby fat or something,
Yeah.
Just people's faces aren't as round.
Yeah.
When they get older. Yeah, I actually feel kind of lucky about all of it now because, for one thing, my family didn't have health insurance, and I think that a doctor suggested applying for this like emergency insurance for poor kids that the state of Alabama offered. And so we got it, and so my parents had to pay nothing for all of it.
Wow, that's
basically good. Nothing, because this insurance was for people under the age of 18 who have some kind of serious life-threatening illness. So I qualified for it, thank goodness. I'm glad they diagnosed it and like got it all taken care of while I was still a teenager, because if it had gone on till I was in college or something before anyone figured it out, then I'd have a lot more problems as a result of that. There are a lot of correlated diseases you can have later in life. And I only say correlated because I don't think they know why they're correlated. So if you have this pituitary tumor, you're at a higher risk for diabetes, arthritis, colon cancer.
Yeah.
something else.
Also, do you just continue to grow? Like, how does the growth hormone imbalance work?
Well, if they don't remove the tumor, yeah, it's like this tumor is just causing your pituitary gland to constantly produce growth hormone, which you do already. You know, everyone produces some, even as an adult, but it's an excess, so it starts to make things weird.
Sounds like it could be some just cruel Dr. Frankenstein experiment. Like somebody's got some giant in their basement.
Oh, yeah.
Injecting them with growth hormone.
Well, you know, Andre the Giant had this same thing, but he obviously had it into adulthood, which is why he was like a gigantic, I mean, his fingers were like...
Yeah, they're like arms.
Giant sausages, and I think that's part of it. And that's part of why he died younger, too. That and all the drinking and partying, you know.
That too. And he had to consume a lot more than everybody else. Did he have a brain tumor as well? Did he have it removed?
I don't know. And I think they can get to the point where they're inoperable. I used to complain about being gigantic because on the very low end of things, nobody ever wanted to dance with me at the dances, except the little creeps who wanted to put their face in my boobs. Yeah, really. The guys who were this height are the ones who wanted to dance
Pushing
with
up
me.
their glasses.
Yeah, they're like,
Hi, mommy.
oh, so gross. But yeah, nobody ever wanted to ask me out, you know. I mean, I had a boyfriend all throughout high school, but I felt like I should have been getting more play, you know what I mean? And I just felt awkward, and anybody who grows up really quickly tends to have some awkwardness because they're not used to operating these big long limbs, you know.
Right.
But my mom always said, you're going to be glad one day because people remember you when you stand out from the crowd, like literally stand out from the crowd. And she is right. Like, it's a big plus for me. I like being remarkable looking, you know. It helps that my mom was always a big advocate for me, you know. Even when I was in middle school and I wasn't even freakishly tall yet, she'd say like, I wish I were as tall as you, because nobody remembers the 5'8", brown-haired, normal-looking girl.
Right.
She's got a point.
I remember seeing you with I've seen you perform a whole bunch, but then it wasn't until you started performing with me the like how present you were. Like there's no sense of like, even if you're singing backup or you're standing there for a whole song, it was like, you're not moving into the wings. You're like, I'm here. This is my gig. I'm on this gig, y'all.
Well, yeah, might as well.
It's totally awesome. It's like completely.
Thank you.
I wish I could do that myself. Like I can't even front a band without being like, hey, is it okay with you guys if I sing to you today? Maybe. Yeah.
I used to be that way. Back in high school and college, I wasn't in any non-school affiliated bands. Like, all I did was the symphonic band and jazz band. And even then, if the jazz band wanted me to take a solo, most people would stand up for their solos. I was like, nope, I don't want them to know who's doing this. I'm going to pretend it's not me so that they're not looking at me. I was very self-conscious, yeah.
How did you get from being stage fright to being like the opposite of that?
I don't know.
Like
It was gradual.
Force.
Yeah, it was just really gradual, I think.
Okay.
It helps when, you know, you have responsive audiences and people tell you they like seeing you up there. But I just stopped giving a shit, I guess, too. I'll say that fronting Poon has helped me with that a lot, because if you look, it's a Ween cover band. If you look at photos of either one of Gene or Dean Ween on stage, they make the ugliest fucking faces that I've ever seen. I mean, it's just like the stankiest rock face you can imagine, like, you know, and this is like in the middle of a guitar solo, he's like, and after looking at enough of those photos, I thought, I need to do some of that on stage. And it's been really liberating, because I'm just like, I'm going to make the ugliest face I can make, you know? And I have a very expressive face, so I feel like it works.
Are you just singing in that band, or do you play sax?
I play sax too. I do like the guitar solos on the sax or flute. There's several Ween songs that have synth solos that are kind of fluty sounding, you know, like a fluty synth patch.
Yeah.
So I just play them on flute.
Cool.
It's fun.
Do you want another drink?
Yes.
All right. We'll be right back with the podcast.
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
I have no way how to like present this like it's an actual like radio thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm just.
Put a commercial in the middle.
I know. I probably will.
You should put a fake commercial. That would be funny.
That's exactly what I was planning to do.
Uncle Adam's unguents.
Uncle Adam's unguents? What is that?
No, like an unguent, you know?
Unguent?
Yeah, it's like a cream. Like a medicated cream.
That's it. That is it. That is the commercial for this.
Okay, great.
That's.
He's got the poultice that will hold this thing together. You'll always feel sunny no matter the weather. Try his magical bones and lotions that calm. Adam's unguents.
Feel out of sorts? Dry skin, boils, warts? Whatever ails you, my finest unguents and oils will never fail you. My salve will solve your foulest malady. An ointment that won't disappoint, made for all shapes and sizes.
You'll be the cream of the crop with only a drop of Adam's unguents.
All right. Oof. Dang, these are strong. But
This
yeah,
one looks pinker.
might have more of the more of the.
It's got more of
bitters.
this, you know?
It's got more of the. What's it called? The bitters, the
Oh, yeah.
Peychaud bitters. Because I don't remember if I put them in or not, so I put in some more.
Good drink.
Oh, good. What else can we talk about? What didn't we cover? Did you have any side effects?
There was the peripheral vision thing. Other than that, I do remember him telling me after the surgery that if my nose was running, I should come back in and tell them if my nose was running a lot. And it did, but I never went and told him. And apparently that was like brain fluid leaking. And I just...
You're like, whatever.
It stopped after a while. I just thought about that the other day. You know, for a long time, it wasn't like when you have a snotty nose and it drips slowly. It was like watery
drainage.
liquid would just drain
Holy shit.
all of a sudden. And yeah, I was supposed to go in and tell him if that was happening because it meant that there was some brain fluid leaking. And I never did.
But that stopped?
It stopped. That doesn't happen anymore. Yeah, my brain's sealed now. Finally.
Very good. Like a nasal shunt or something.
Yeah. The other side effect I had was that this whole nose, upper lip region was like slightly tingly for a long time.
Like
And if something
years
hit me-
or months or
Yeah, years. If
Wow.
something hit me in the nose even just lightly, it would kind of cause this electric shock feeling in my face.
whoa.
That was weird. That lasted for quite a while. Yeah, nerve damage is weird. I mean, that's a pretty mild example, but I have a stepsister. My dad's girlfriend's youngest daughter got in a car wreck. She was on her bike and got run over by a car, like both sets of tires. And she had to have all kinds of facial reconstruction and all of that. And I can't imagine what she probably feels like, you know, having broken bones in her face and have to kind of reassemble your face.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to that, this is nothing.
Yeah, tingling in your face? No.
No.
Have you ever been in a bike wreck?
Yeah, I broke my thumb one time. I kind of fell off my bike and I didn't feel that bad. I was a kid, but I ran in crying. And my mom took me to the doctor and yeah, my thumb was broken. It didn't feel like it.
Huh.
I guess it was just fractured or something. Well, actually, the worst bike wreck was my dad built a bike cart that, like, you would put on, you know, the seat of the bike, you'd take it off and put this connector to this cart that went behind the bike, put the seat back on. And it was made from, he used to race catamarans. You ever seen a catamaran?
The
They've
boat?
got, like, this fiberglass air-filled hull.
Yeah.
Or they've got 2 or 3 of them. A trimaran has 3. Anyway, he used to build those, and so he used the same materials to make this bike cart. We called it the bike cart. I don't know what else you would call it.
Yeah.
It was so fun. Some of my best childhood memories were being towed around in this bike cart by my dad. But one time he took a turn a little too fast on this country road, and the cart fell over and like dragged me for a little while, and I still have a little bit of a scar from getting dragged behind that bike cart. And I remember he took me back home And my mom put me in the shower to try to clean all these wounds, and I was screaming so much that she couldn't really clean them. And she said, well, when you have scars when you're older, you're going to remember this.
Yeah.
And then I did. She was right. Oh, my mom. She's been right about many things.
Too bad all the things that are fun just hurt.
I know.
You do.
I told
Do
my
long
dad that
enough
I'm going to
to
be
hurt.
riding my bike around the east side, and he said, we're not having good luck with bikes lately.
Are you
so
riding a bike now?
Be careful. I drove here, but...
But you do ride a bike? Mm-hmm. Be careful. Like, just riding in the streets here in Austin is just terrible. Even with bike lanes.
I should probably get one of those little flashing back
Oh, yeah, get lights.
reflectors.
You
I've
have
got
to-
reflectors, but
You need
the kind you
lights.
actually turn on that blink are
You
better.
have to have those. Yeah, if you're riding at night, you got. In fact, it's illegal now not to have those. You'll get a ticket.
The blinky ones?
Just having lights on your bike, you have to have them on there.
Oh, I should do that then.
Yeah, they'll give you a ticket, or you'll get killed. So.
Or you'll get killed. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is worse? Who knows?
I don't know. Those tickets can be like over $100. You can get up there.
Biking out in the country can be very unsafe too, because rednecks really just don't like seeing anyone on a bike.
They just take you out.
Really, sometimes I've been biking in Alabama, and people will just yell out of the car like, "Get off the road!" You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they're going 2 feet out of the way to go around you is such a hassle.
Yeah.
They can't handle it. Yeah, rednecks don't like it. The town I'm from in Alabama is pretty unusual because it does have its share of rednecks, but then it's also like retirees, old hippies, artists, and like super snooty rich people. It's a weird.
That's everybody.
It's a weird
You
mix.
just cover the whole group.
No, I mean there aren't hip young people.
Okay.
There's not really any of that going. A little bit, but there's this definite clash between the artist hippie people and like the rednecks and retirees. You know.
What city? What town?
Fairhope,
Fairhope.
Alabama. I was just there for a month. It was really fun. I did one of my favorite things to do, which is ride my bike down to it's right on Mobile Bay. So I rode my bike with my dad down to Mobile Bay and watched the 4th of July fireworks down at the bay.
Oh, that sounds nice.
It is really nice. And you know, the rednecks are out in full force, but you don't have to interact with them if you don't want. Or have a drink with them. That's what I did.
There you go.
They had set up this little tiki bar on the beach, and rednecks and hippies alike having a drink, watching the fireworks.
That's good.
America.
America. That's what that is.
Back then, I was squarely in the hippie group. Yeah.
You wear
Just-
tie-dye?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my mom had a T-shirt printing company when I was a kid, and she tie-dyed her own shirts. So I can still, whip up a mean tie-dye.
That's nice.
Yeah.
They didn't have like the new tie-dye. Like when I was a kid, it was like just these kind of muted, darker
Which is cooler
colors.
looking, in my opinion.
I guess.
I don't like the rainbow, bright
Right.
looking tie-dye. But yeah, the old school, natural looking tie-dye is cooler though, because it kind of has like a batik look to it. And if it's paired with the right print on the shirt, I think it can still be pretty nice.
You have to have the right pair of flared cords in my case.
Yes.
Or whatever I wore.
Oh my God. There was a specific pair of corduroys that I found at the Fairhope Goodwill that were my pride and joy. They were burnt orange, super flared, and they fit so perfectly. I remember I wore them to school. The first day I wore them, that other tall girl I was telling you about saw me wearing them and said, oh, I couldn't fit into those. Like she had gone to the Goodwill and tried them on.
You're like, score.
I was like, oh yeah, read them and weep. But oh my God, I was so proud of those pants. That kind of style is coming back in right now. The high-waisted 70s looking flared pants, which is great because those suit me. 40s and 70s, those are my eras.
40s and 70s, okay.
Yeah. If I still had those, I'd be wearing them. But I think they got flooded in Katrina. They were one of many.
Were you a Katrina transplant? Or
I am. Yeah, I lived in this ground floor apartment, and that was a mistake. If you're going to live in New Orleans, word to the wise.
Aim high.
Do not live on the ground floor. But yeah, my apartment flooded up to the ceiling. I think it was 10 feet of flooding in my neighborhood.
Wow.
So everything I had got flooded. And I took some stuff with me, but not very much, you know. So as far as wardrobe, I had to start over from scratch, you know. And some stuff I didn't realize till years later got flooded. Like my mom used to make me a little book every year for my birthday that was about what I had done that year. So it was like, now you're 3, here's what you can do now. Now You Are 5 was a good one. I especially liked that one. And of course, she drew them all as just line drawings and then would let me color them in with crayons. So it's just like...
What was so good about Now You're 5?
Well, I don't know if all of them had that format. I know that one did, though. It was like, now you're 5. You can open the door yourself. You know, it was like me reaching up, opening a door.
For you, though, when you were 5, were you, like, much taller? It was like, now you're 5. You can help people get into the attic or something.
No. You know what I do enjoy, though, is reaching things for people in the grocery store. Like, this happens maybe 25% of my grocery store visits. Like, some tiny old lady will be, like, trying to reach the artichoke hearts on the top shelf, and I'm
Here.
like, let me help you. You know, because they're not right in the front. They're, like, way in the back because it's a popular item, you know. Yeah, I love to help.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. And if you ever want to hide things from me, just put them down low. I don't see them. Like in the kitchen, those low shelves, pointless.
You're not even going to bother. Yeah.
All you put down there is like the melon baller and, you know, stuff you never use.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you melon ball more often than I do.
Occasionally. I have a melon ball, or like a ball, a party. We all bring melon ballers and, you know, we just start balling, you know. Here's somewhere we can go. Friends with Deficit After Hours.
Friends with deficits after hours.
What happens after hours?
That's the question.
Does it get raunchy?
No. Well, you could. But then the question is, in relating to our topic of discussion, benefits, things you've noticed, things that have been different, good, bad, in between the sheets.
Oh. There are some benefits to being the taller of the two involved between the sheets as a lady.
Mm-hmm.
The main one of which I have heard feedback about being that the boobs are at an accessible place. While activity is happening, you know, while there's some sort of... What? I'm trying to think.
I think the word's action.
Yeah, while there's some action going on, you can also access the whole rack region.
It's a scientific term for it, yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I don't discriminate as far as height goes with dudes, really. I don't. Most tall ladies are like only interested in someone taller than themselves.
Right. Is it just because it's like so difficult to find somebody your height?
No,
or
I
taller?
really don't care.
Okay.
I never have. It's kind of cool being taller than the dude. Well, because it kind of almost reverses the gender roles in a way. If you're the larger person, you know, you're kind of dominating in a way.
Are you that kind of person?
Not really. No, maybe. I have been. It depends. It depends on the other party, but
Yeah.
I have been.
But not generally by choice. It's not like your perceived role.
I can go either way.
You're a switch. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm more responsive to the other person than anything. So
Yeah.
if they want to be dominated, I can pull it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can go either way. Well, some people, I will say, and I have never engaged these fellows, but there are some shorter than average dudes that are really into the tall ladies. And I find it quite creepy when I've been approached by these fellows. And I've never engaged one of these guys. So like shorter than the average man.
Being approached in terms of just, hi, how are you? Let's talk,
Or
being
just, you're
approached.
really tall.
Right.
There's a difference between someone who seems genuinely interested in you for any number of reasons, and then someone who is just like you're filling this archetype that they are interested in.
Right.
And I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in being a symbol to someone, you know. Some people are, I'm not. Like an R-crumb kind of thing, basically, where it's like, let me cling to the leg of this giant, powerful woman.
I never thought the R-crumb. That's it.
Yeah.
I haven't thought of you as an R-crumb archetype, and I still don't. But
No.
that's just funny to think about.
R-crumb's thing is usually the ladies with the big butts and
And the very
powerful
small,
legs.
they're smaller
Yeah.
upstairs or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between the dudes that are into big boobs and the dudes that are into like powerful legs and butts. The personality of those two types is very different. The boob dudes are mama's boys. Exclusively. Yes.
How do you tell apart the people who are looking for like an archetype versus somebody who may be genuinely interested, but at the same time?
It's usually obvious right off the bat, although some people have both interests. I mean, it's someone who just approaches you from looking at you across the room and has sort of a hungry look or something is the guy that's, you know, like, oh, you're a giantess and I want you to put on stilettos and step on my balls, you know? Like, unless you're paying me a lot of money, and even then,
Have you had that actual
I don't.
overture?
Have I? I don't know. Maybe I have because it came to mind.
It came right at you. It just sounded like a memorable.
No, I think that is a thing though. Like,
Sure.
I think there's this 50-foot woman, giant woman fetish thing.
Yeah.
I will say I've probably watched less porn than your average human.
I've probably watched more porn than your average human, yeah. Porn's not that great.
No, not really.
I think it's fucked up a lot of men,
Yeah,
especially in this generation.
I think so too.
I heard some crazy shit about Japan. Have you heard about this?
I don't know.
How the population is decreasing because
no one wants to have sex.
no one
with
wants
each
to have
other.
sex, and all these kids or men are having like porn-induced erectile dysfunction and shit. Don't know how to like communicate with women and.
Or they have real doll girlfriends.
Yeah, it's so freaky, depressing, and weird. And cool. Yeah, robots, sex robots. It's gonna be like the next level of.
I, for one, embrace our sex robot overlords.
I will too. Oh, if they're overlords, for sure. Yeah, whatever they want.
Friends with deficits after hours.
Thanks for the drinks. Those are really good.
What else do you want to know? Or do you want to say? Or do you want me to ask you to?
Do you have any strange, debilitating illnesses?
No comment.
Or have you?
Sure I have.
Erectile dysfunction, huh?
Just that. That's not the only one. But you know, that's not. So many people have that. I don't feel like it's rare enough to include on the podcast.
I can't get an erection at all.
Really? I'm so sorry. Is it because of the large thing or just...
I don't even want to go into it, really.
Oh.
Yeah, generally being tall is just an asset for me these days. I
So-
have no complaints anymore.
That's good. Socially, like you don't...
When I'm in a group in a loud place, I usually have to kind of hunker down to hear anyone. You know, other than that. My grandma, Granny Louise, she used to talk all the time about how hard it was being a tall woman growing up and how awkward she felt. And she was 5'8".
Oh my God.
I know. It was like, oh, Granny Louise, come on.
I was going to ask you that. Is there anything hereditary? Because
There is, because her brother, my Uncle Toe, or great uncle, whatever.
Toe? Mm-hmm. T-O...
T-O-E. Well, his name is Paul, and actually, I always thought that there must be some interesting story behind why he was called Uncle Toe, but it's the most boring story you can possibly imagine.
Oh.
It was just that when he was a baby, he liked to play with his toes.
Okay.
Very boring. But Uncle Toe, I think when he was younger, was 6'7".
Okay.
So he was quite tall. And he's in his 90s now, so he's shrunk a bit, but he's still tall. But yeah, who knows how tall I would have been without the pituitary tumor. My guess is probably 5'9", 5'10". You know, that's just totally conjecture. My two sisters are both pretty short, but they have different dads, so... Or different dad in one case, different mom in another case. Hippies, you know.
Yeah.
Free love.
Yeah. Just sowing seeds.
Yep.
One brother?
Two.
Two brothers.
2 brothers, 2 sisters.
Okay.
None of us have the same 2 parents.
What a big family.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I feel good.
You feel good? We covered all the bases. Do you need another drink?
I would like... I definitely need to drink a glass of water.
All right, let's have a glass of water. Or did you already pull this off? So we're done.
I am now.
All right, you're done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lila. Yay.
Yay!
Yay. I hope you enjoyed that show. I'd like to thank Andy Nolte, who provided some extra music for this episode, as well as Leila Henley, who was not only my guest, but provided the pipes on our After Hours theme and our little commercial that was fake. And would you like to hear more not real commercials and help support the show? Consider visiting patreon.com/friendswithdeficits. That's a way to become a monthly supporter with a contribution of as little as $1 a month, which, believe me, makes a big difference. It helps us to produce the show and make sure that it keeps going. And you'll get exclusive digital content that you wouldn't normally get on the podcast. And visit Patreon, patreon.com/friendswithdeficits. Once again, I'm Adam Sultan. Thanks for listening to Friends with Deficits, and stay alive out there.